Hello and welcome to the 50-cent tour of Friday, September 13th. You heard it right, Friday the 13th, 2013. Please do find a seat on the Liberty bus and fasten your safety belts because it's going to be a bumpy ride. I'm going to tell you what I really think. Don't I always do that? Well, for the most part, but there's some opinions I'm going to express that are not very PC. So I don't know if this opinion is PC or not. Because I'm mostly only in touch with people who are liberty and truth seekers, and they realize some of the wisdom of this. And this is posted on 2012, the big picture, but I think this is can be found in a lot of places this morning. Letter from Putin to Americans about Syria. And it's difficult, I think, for baby boomers to plug into this because we were raised to fear and hate Russia. But things have flipped in many respects. America is no longer the moral voice of freedom. To some extent, maybe to a large extent, Russia is becoming that. And there are just a couple of historical things I would like to mention about Russia so that we don't just automatically shut down and rule out information like this. One thing about Russia is, and I'm sorry I don't have links for this. If you do search, you'll be able to find them. Russia had a very Christian monarchy. They did not. The Russian monarchy did not want to embrace some of the immoral, nasty practices that some of the other monarchies of other nations practiced. And to some extent, the Russian monarchy really took a stand for justice and righteousness. This is one reason why the Bolshevik Revolution was funded, intentionally to get rid of the Russian monarchy because they had brought offense by being righteous and just. One specific thing that one of the czars did, and I'm not sure if it was Nicholas, I think it may have been, he sent warships to America before the Civil War to discourage the Rothschilds from bringing some military action against America. And I'm fuzzy on the details, but what I know is that the Rothschilds had evil planned. They had planned to militarily divide up America. And the Russian Tsar stepped in and said, we're not going to allow America to be attacked militarily. So the military action was, they backed off, but then, of course, a little bit later, they managed to infiltrate and start the Civil War. And if you believe that the Civil War was fought to free the slaves, do some more research, okay? And here's another point that's probably not going to be very politically correct. But I'm asking you to really be objective, have an open mind, and take a look at what is really here and what is really going on. Western promotion of lesbian, gay values a concern. And this is from RT, Western promotion of LGBT values a concern. And hello, Russia is concerned that we are forcing, not we, the cabal working through America is forcing these decadent morals on the American people as well as the world. Now, this might push a button for you to have me say that lesbian and gay values are decadent. I am not pulling any punches. I'm not. I have some friends who are gay. I love them. I am not pointing a finger at them. I am not calling them out as sinners. I will confess, I certainly have my share of faults. I have sin in my life. But I'm not out on the streets marching, asking people to affirm my sin as the accepted way to live. And if my comment is, if somebody, and I have directly told gay people this, and I'm not ashamed to say this, if this agenda is so right, if you're confident that you're doing the right thing, why do you need my affirmation and agreement? And that's what, being out, banging the drums, demanding that everybody accept this lifestyle. Why? If it's right, if it's good, if you feel comfortable with it, why do you need me to affirm you? And so, because we're putting this stuff out there, because America's putting this stuff out there, ramming this down other people's throats, this is, people in Russia are saying, hey, why are you promoting these values? They are not family values. Sorry to break your bubble, but there is no way that a gay or lesbian couple can reproduce. There's science. There's just not. So, I'm not hating. I'm really not hating. I'm just pulling the curtain back and seeing what is this really? What's really in here? So, moving on. I said it was going to be a bumpy ride. This is disillusioning. But I once heard a pastor say you can only be disillusioned if you have embraced an illusion. This website is called End of the American Dream. They have this article. War is coming. 10 reasons why a diplomatic solution to the Syria crisis is extremely unlikely. And on both sides, there's more than two sides because Israel and others are involved. There are points that are probably not going to be agreed on. Now, are they bargaining points? A good negotiator always asks for more than what they really want. And, you come to the table and you say, I need this, 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 and that, and then everybody compromises. You give up some of your desires, your wishes, and an agreement is reached. Well, I don't know. Some of these points, these 10 reasons, have a lot of emotional angst behind them, and pray. I mean, that's, and when it comes right down to it, okay, if there's not a diplomatic solution, does that still mean that we need to go to war? Hell no. We just keep saying what we're saying as the American people. No, hell no, we won't go. I mean, revive that old saying from Vietnam. No, we're not going to pay for this. We're not going to allow this. We're not going to permit this to be done in our name. But one of the voices that is really coming out and begging for war, really begging for more death. Christiane Amanpour gets emotional on Syria, and I I didn't watch this video. I'm not going to watch this video. I get it. She's a shill, and she's a professional journalist, a true professional journalist, accepted and approved by the state. And in a minute, we'll get to why that's important. But she is so concerned about the Syrian children who were killed, nerve-gassed, that she can barely contain herself. Well, you know, take a pill. I mean, if she were genuine, yeah, nobody wants to see children die. There's questions about whether those photos are even real, whether they were taken in Syria. Some photographer claimed that he had taken those photos in some other conflict a few years ago. So who knows? But, you know, Christiane Amanpour is upset, and she wants you to be upset so that you change your mind and tell Congress that, oh, after all, yeah, we do want to do what the cabal tells us to do and go to war. Not. Here's more on Syria. Continuity of agenda. Syria catastrophe engineered under Bush, executed verbatim under Obama. So this is what we're really dealing with, and let's try to keep that in mind, and try to keep that, you know, help people understand what's going on. Although, you know, this John Rappaport blog, What Concerns All of Us at This Time, is actually about setting the agenda and about how the controllers, the social engineers, the cabal, and their minions always want to define the talking points, always want to define the focus. What should we all be concerned about right now? And, you know, this whole Rappaport has been writing a lot about stepping outside of the herd mentality. And that's what he's encouraging here. That they can divert our attention wherever they want us to. It's a shell game. So while everybody is looking one place, they're putting the real significant issues somewhere else where we can't see them. So is Syria really the thing that we should be focusing on? It's really difficult to tell. I mean, I don't think it's definitely contrived because the rebels are funded and supported by the CIA and other aspects of the cabal operating through the U.S. corporate government. So there are real issues there, but there are a lot of other real issues too. And we, you know, all of the impeachable points, Benghazi, Fast and Furious, all of the treasonous acts that have been committed by the administration. Those are some of the things that we can't really forget. If we do, we forget them at our peril. So this is one, I believe, of the things that we are meant to be diverted from, and one of the issues that could neutralize John Rappaport pretty effectively. And The Lie has this article: new amended media shield law passes committee, does not protect WikiLeaks and independent bloggers. That's you and me, folks. So the Senate committee passed this law, and it's, you know, it's cabal speak. They say that it's a protection act. It's called the new shield law for journalists, and they get to pick. They get to say who's a journalist, and this means that, you know, people without credentials that they accept would not be permitted to cover certain events and have access to certain press conferences and meetings and announcements. And I can't help but wonder if this was partly triggered by the InfoWars coverage of the bombing at the Boston Marathon, where they had their reporter in these press conferences asking some very embarrassing questions and helping the other press to realize, well, hey, okay, this is what they're telling us, but there's probably another story here. And that is what freedom of the press is all about. It's about not having all of your information come from one source. If all of your information comes from one source, anybody can, with enough money, can very easily control it. And you've all, I'm sure, heard the story from a few decades ago when some cabal guys asked the question, how many newspapers would we have to own in order to be able to craft public opinion? And they did a study and found out and went out and bought just a few more newspapers than that for good measure. So the internet has allowed for that system to crumble, and that system is crumbling, thank God. And we're learning about what's really going on, and now 91% of the American people don't want war in Syria. And it's because the alternative media has been telling the real story. So these people are desperate, desperate, desperate to shut up the real media. Here's somebody they'd like to shut up. Benjamin Fulford. Well, they can't shut up Benjamin Fulford because he's living in Japan. And that is why Benjamin Fulford is living in Japan. So he's beyond their reach, and they can't easily kill him or destroy him or block him, although there have been some attempts on his life. So it's not for lack of trying that he is still alive. But this update, again, not politically correct. He is calling on the American people to see to it that the people in government are arrested. And I have not, it's about 11 minutes long. I honestly have not listened to the whole thing. I listened to the first few minutes, and I heard him say that it's just simply wrong that people like John Kerry and Barack Obama have microphones and are empowered with the ability to speak on behalf of the American people, because they are not representing us well. They are representing corporate interests, and somehow this needs to come to a screeching halt. What they're doing, what the cabal is doing, using Americans as pawns. I don't know what that will look like, but Fulford has some suggestions about getting in touch with local police who haven't been bribed, getting in touch with military guys who haven't been bribed, blackmailed, bought off somehow, and basically just insisting that they give us our country back. At this point, to some extent, even people who take to the streets are ignored. And this article is from the Huffington Post. Walmart in LA's Chinatown is set to open despite major protests. And there are photos here, and there are a lot of people who took to the streets and said that they did not want a Walmart to go in. Just a simple thing like this. And you can say, well, if there's capitalism, whoever wants to be able to build in a community should be able to build if they can make a go of it financially. I appreciate the tone of that. But if you read Henry George and develop an understanding of land use and how land can be used to serve the community instead of enrich just a few, it sounds a little socialist, but a lot of the ideas are very, very sound. And putting up a Walmart is not a use of land that serves the community well. And here's the sign: Walmart equals poverty. And I won't get too deeply into that. There's a great documentary about people in China who work for Walmart, and Walmart is not a caring nurture, and I hope that you can figure that out. This is, remarkable. This was a mind blower, and it's not nationally, maybe it's not that significant, but it's just so shocking that I put it in the tour. Arkansas sets 30-minute statute of limitation for crimes committed by police. So if the police, beat you to a pulp and you're bloody and in the hospital, oh, sorry, you can't file charges. Oh, sorry, your 30 minutes is up. And, I was just thinking about this a little bit when I went for my walk this morning, and I was thinking, gee, some nasty ambulance chaser attorney could maybe make some money off of this, file a whole bunch of lawsuits, do the minimum filing, offer to anybody that's had an altercation with the police, just submit a filing for a lawsuit, and, just throw the dice. And some of them will hit pay dirt. And I don't know what court costs are, but I really hope that the people of Arkansas find a way to just break this wide open and, make the people who set this in place, make them pay. They're trying to not have to pay. They're trying to avoid lawsuits. They want to be able to behave however they want to and have no consequences. I mean, a 30-minute statute of limitations. Hey, give people that for smoking marijuana, okay? Not for crimes committed against the people of a community by the police. And here's another issue with the law. The Supreme Court just eliminated the Fifth Amendment. Okay, you have to actually state that you are invoking your Fifth Amendment. Remaining silent no longer protects you from self-incrimination. That's a quote. And I read on. In order to have your constitutional rights asserted, you actually have to say out loud, I'm invoking my right to remain silent, even if no Miranda rights have been read or arrests made. So, do it. I mean, what can it hurt? You get pulled over for speeding. Sir, do you know how fast you were going? I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I mean, they're asking for it, right? They obviously don't want us to feel free to communicate with them. So, if that's the way it has to be, that's the way it has to be. And these are the guys, This is from the Verbatim Project. Live updates. 2 million DC bikers stand up for free speech and defy federal tyranny. Well, go guys. And I probably should have put this with the Benjamin Fulford message about taking a stand. Because these guys took a stand. So if we just, continue to take a stand, to hit the streets, to speak out, to quote the Fifth Amendment when necessary, to quote the First Amendment, Second Amendment, whatever amendment is being violated, whatever right is being violated, know that, we can take a stand. As one of Alex Jones's guests said the other day, if we just stand up to these guys, they'll fold like deck chairs. So we can hope. I am ending with this for the day and for the week since it's Friday. I may have mentioned this website the other day. Company of Burning Hearts.podomatic.com. And okay, this is not news, but if the news is leaving you feeling discouraged and overwhelmed, and you just don't know what a reasonable response is to the news, this is another approach. I mean, we do things in this realm, in the earth realm, but we're also spirit beings, and we can do things in the spirit realm, in the heavenly realm. And this website has a lot of podcasts that are about moving in the heavenly realm. And if you listen to some that are by Ian Clayton, I would hope that you would find inspiration as I have. And it is the weekend coming up, so if you find yourself without a whole lot to do and you're feeling kind of blah, bored, whatever, you might try one of these. See if it speaks to you. However you decide to spend the weekend, I hope it is a pleasant one. And this tour has been a presentation of She Who Will Walk in the Dark Productions. The dawn is coming. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty.